All right. So it says graph the polynomial function. Are we having any issues with the graph? You guys can just put it in your calculator, right? We having any of those problems? All right. Now sometimes you can't see the whole thing, and we haven't done much of this. Like 31, I'll do it on the calculator and show you. Here, so we go to our y equals. We got our x to the fifth. Turn this on. That might help too, huh? X to the fifth minus 3x to the fourth plus 2x minus 4. And then we hit graph. So it so we can't really see that bottom part, what's going on there, how far it goes. One way to do that or look at some values is go to the table, right? Second graph. There we go. And let's get it a little bit like -3 to 3 here. All right, so at -3, it's way down to almost -500. All right, -1 is -10, and then 0, -4, 1, -4. So it went up here between -3 and -4. It kind of went up and then started going back down again. All right, if we go down and look, see what's happening here. At 3, it's 2, and then at 4, it's 260. At 2, it's -16. So, we can't really see that stuff. If you want to see the whole thing, all right, you can play with your zoom button if you want. We can hit zoom out. So zoom 3, hit enter, and you can maybe see a little bit. That's kind of goofy looking then, I don't really like to zoom out. Okay, so how do I get back to that basic one we're always seeing? What do we call that? Zoom 6. Good. All right, that's back to the normal one. All right. Also, next to zoom is window here. If I hit the window button, all right, it's telling you that it's showing you from -10 to 10 on the x-axis. This last mark here is -10, and the last one to the right is +10. And it's also telling you from -10 to 10 on the y-axis, if you can see that. And then x scale and y scale is 1. It's going by 1. So you can change all that stuff to make it go by 5s or 10s. And you can make your x-min, again, this way it's not so much, it's up and down, we're having a little bit of issue seeing it. So, we could make our scale by 2s, and then my y-min, I can make it maybe -50, let's say. And my y-max, 10's okay. Let's go scale by 5s this time, and then hit graph, and you'll see a little bit different. You can kind of see there a little bit better where it ended up. Okay. You can also, since we're on this for a minute, you can hit this trace button. We've done second trace before to do some mins and maxes, some intersections. Okay. But if you just hit trace, you can, the cursor there is at the y-intercept. But if I hit the right arrow key, it'll just go along the graph and give you some values of where it's at. These numbers here, 2.3 and -19.1, is where the cursor's at right now. It'll tell you where that cursor is. So if you need to do stuff like that, you're welcome to do that. All right. Again, if I want to change my window, I just go back to zoom 6, I think, and it should work out. Okay, and then window is back to that -10 to 10 stuff. So if you want to change your window so you can see your whole graph a little better, you could play with that a little bit, help you get a better visual. Okay, any questions on that? All right, so just using your calculator to graph, okay? Now, describe the x values for which it's increasing, decreasing, greater than zero, and less than zero, positive and negative, right? You got any questions on those, looking at the answers I gave you? You guys okay with those answers? Jordan?
I don't really understand how you got them.
Okay.
I was gone.
All right, so when we think about increasing and decreasing, think about walking along the graph going left to right, okay? So if I'm walking along this graph, am I going down as I go left to right here, or am I going up here? I'm going down, right? If I'm going this way, and if I was walking along that. So this part from, what did we use for decreasing yesterday? Purple or red? No, purple, right? All right, so this part is the decreasing part, and we do the x values, okay? So what's the x value here where I'm pointing? 4, right? So all the x values less than 4, it's decreasing. Because it's left of the 4, okay? And then we used, for increasing, we used green, didn't we? And then from 4, we start going up, all right? So for the increasing part, it's all the values of x greater than 4, okay? Because it's going up if I'm walking along that graph, okay? And when we think about where it's increasing or decreasing, we're thinking about x values, remember, not the y values. We're thinking about the domain, okay? That part okay, Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to erase those colors, and then I'm going to go positive and negative, okay? We used blue yesterday for positive, okay? And that's where the graph is above the x-axis. So those are the positive parts, okay? And again, we're looking at these x values here, where it's positive, those 2 dots I made. So this dot is 3, so where it's positive is all left of that, so all x values less than 3, and this x value is 5, and it's to the right of that, so all values of x greater than 5, it's positive, or less than 3. This x value there is 3. Left of it, it's above, and that x value is 5. Right of it, above, is positive part of the graph. Okay? And then we used red yesterday for the negative part, which would be the part below the x-axis. Okay? Greater than 0 is positive, less than 0 is negative. So that means negative part. This greater than 0 means the positive part. Okay? So it's between this x value and this x value. So my negative part is from 3 to 5. And we always, when we put between, we use less than symbols. So all x values between 3 and 5, the graph is below the x-axis, so that's the negative part of it. Does that help going over that? Okay. Anybody else have a question? All right, and then anybody need to go over 34? We good on that? You guys have the answers there in front of you? Okay. And then 35 and 6, where the way I showed it was using the highlighted areas. If you just want to put a little box around that area, that's fine. So I like to do the positive and negative part first. So here's the positive part. We'll put red boxes around it. Oh no, we'll go back to blue for positive. So blue around all the x values less than -2, So here's -2. So this boxed area, right, where I highlighted that yesterday, in all values of x greater than 3. So here's 3, and then greater would be this area. That's the positive part, the greater than 0. All right, the negative part, red part, is between -2 and 3. So that's that part. Okay, you with me? Now, increasing was greater than a half. Increasing, we did green, right? So a half is right here, x value, right? So it starts going up somewhere in here. I guess it doesn't matter where. Remember, I didn't matter where down here. So let's say right here at a half, and then it starts going up. And then these changes of positive and negative spots, there and there, at that -2 and that 3, is where it'll cross the x-axis. So it's going to go up. Oops, I want green for increasing, don't I? So green, it's going to go up, increasing, and then decreasing, we use purple, right? So basically, it's just for 35 a parabola. Kind of an ugly one, but you guys get the idea, right? Is that helping? And then you guys see how 36 also. And I just sketched it. I didn't put those positive and negative areas, but that's how I would do it. I would figure out what part's positive and negative. Okay? We all right? All right. Going to switch gears a little bit today. All right, we're going to add and subtract and multiply polynomials today. You guys will know how to do that. You guys remember what like terms are, don't you? They have to have the same what to be like terms? Variables and exponents. Very good. So to add or subtract terms, like terms, same variable, same exponent. Okay? So when it says in a vertical format, it means up and down, right? You guys could do whichever format you want, all right? But doing it vertically is just meaning putting one on top of the other. So I'm going to do the second one right under the first one. And if you like this, you're more than welcome to do that. When I do it vertically, I just line up all the like terms beforehand. So what's the 3x cubed plus the x cubed going to equal? 4x cubed, right? And the 2x squared plus a negative 10x squared is going to be negative, right? Not positive. I messed up there. There's nothing here with that's another x, so I just drop that negative x down. That's still part of my answer, right? It's like negative x plus nothing. It's still negative x. And what's negative 7 plus 8? Positive 1, right? So that's doing it vertically, which maybe you guys haven't done before. Maybe you just did it horizontally all the time in Algebra 1, like this one. So you can do it either way, okay? So just combine like terms. 9y cubed plus, is there any y cubes over here? No. So it's just 9y cubed. We got 3y squared plus a negative 5y squared. That's a negative 2, right? We got a negative 2y plus 1y. You don't have to put the ones in front, but if you do, it's okay. And then the 1 plus the negative 4, negative 3. You guys don't have any issues with that kind of stuff, do you? All right, so this is kind of review stuff for you, right? No graphs to worry about today. All right, what happens when we do subtraction? All right, same thing, right? But remember, again, vertically, you know, you can just line stuff up if you want. I'll put it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. So just remember, we're subtracting, right? So what's 2x cubed minus 8x cubed? Negative 6. Now here's where sometimes we mess up. What's 6x squared minus a negative 3x squared? That's plus 3x squared, right? Minus a negative. So remember, that's addition when you go minus a negative. Same thing here. Negative 1 minus a negative 2 is like negative 1 plus 2, which is positive 1, right? And then 1 minus 9 is negative 8. That's doing it vertically. If you like that, go ahead and do it that way. Again, I don't care which way you do it. And even if it tells you to do it vertically or tells you to do it horizontal, you can do whichever you're best at, okay? Here, again, if I write this, well, I just do it like I did. Oh, here's what, subtract this from that, right? So I shouldn't write that first. I should actually write that first. You guys with me on that? So let me start over here. I'm getting a little bit of a hurry. All right. So I'm subtracting 3z squared plus z minus 4 from this. So actually, I write this first, minus, and I always put it in parentheses when I do it horizontally like this. So I remember to go 2z squared minus 3z squared, which is negative 1z squared, right? And then 3z minus z is 2z, all right? And then nothing minus a negative 4 is what? That's actually plus 4, right? Because it's minus a negative. So sometimes if we don't put the parentheses, we might forget that it's minus a negative 4. So that's why I always put that. But, you know, read that one carefully. When it says subtract so-and-so from, did I do the first? Maybe I did the first one wrong, too. I did, didn't I? Because it said from, didn't it? Just didn't say subtract those two. It said the 2. So I did it backwards. All right. So, again, I was getting in a hurry and didn't pay attention to the details. All right. So I should have done it this way. All right. Sorry about that. So I should have written the 8x cubed on top minus the 3x squared minus 2x plus 9, and then minus. So pay attention to the details. Don't get in a hurry like me. All right, so this is going to change to 6x cubed, positive, and negative 3 minus 6x squared would be negative 9x squared. Negative 2x minus a negative 1x is a negative 1x, because we're adding 1x. And then 9 minus 1 would be 8. So I shouldn't have gotten in a hurry. We good on addition, subtraction? Simple, right? All right, multiplication. All right. Sometimes you do it vertically. You probably have never done it vertically, okay? All right, taking the smaller one underneath the large one. So it's saying multiply all of that by -3. So I'm taking -3 times -3 or times -x squared to get the positive 3x squared. The -3 times the 2x is -6x. The -3 times the 4 is the -12. All right. Then they take the x times the -x squared and get -x cubed. They put it out here a little further because holding that x cubed spot. And then they go x times the 2x to get the 2x squared. Now these line up. And then the x times the 4x lines up with the 6x. And then from here, you just combine like terms. Okay, basically it's addition. Once you do that, then you're adding. All right, so you got the -x cubed, the 3x squared, and the positive 2x squared is the 5x squared. The -6x and the positive 4x is the -2x. And then there's just a -12. Okay, most of you guys are used to doing it horizontally. Okay, so you don't have to do the vertical if you don't want to. All right. Usually you guys are used to seeing it this way. And this is probably how I would do it. Okay, so first we're just going to go y times all three of those. Okay, so I got 3y cubed. Y times -2y is -2y squared. Y times 2 is 2y. All right, and then multiply the 5 times all three. And then I got 5 times -2y is -10y. Oops, I did that too quick. 5 times 3y squared is 15y squared. And I like to line them up vertically, but you don't have to. You can just do the whole thing horizontally. 5 times -2y is -10y. And then 5 times 2 is the 10. Okay, so that's usually how I do it. Is it that way? And then I combine my like terms. So I've got 3y cubed, -2y plus 15 is positive 13, y squared. Positive 2 and a -10 is -8y, and then the plus 10. That's how I would do the multiplication part. Questions on that? Again, whichever you feel most comfortable with. If you like to right away go vertical, like this first example, that's fine. But that's how I've always done it, it's like this. So, your choice. So far, so good? Mm-hmm. All right, what if we have 3 polynomials, actually binomials, that we have to multiply? Yeah, do 2 of them together. So don't try to do all 3 at once. Just do 2 at a time. And it doesn't matter what order. I usually just go, left to right. So I would do these 2 first. And if you have 2 binomials, what do we call it when we multiply? FOILing, right? Okay. So first, x squared, outside 4x, inside -1x, last -4. So you get x squared plus 3x, combine those like terms. All right, so you get that answer, and then you times it by the x plus 5. Do that second step. You guys have done this stuff before, right? So you go x squared times x, which is x cubed, and x squared times 5, which is 5x squared. And then do 3x times x, which is 3x squared, and 3x times 5, which is 5x. And then -4 times x is -4x, and -4 times 5 is -20. Are there any like terms in there that I can simplify? Yeah, there is, right? We got an x cubed, but we got two of these x squared, so put them together, that's 8. We got 5x minus 4x, that's 1x, and then the minus 20. Okay? Again, this should be reviewed, basically reduced stuff for you, right? All right. So far, so good? Okay. All right. So there's a couple special product patterns you can learn if you want. You don't have to learn these. You can just do what we've been doing. All right. But if you got a plus b and a minus b, all right, all you need to do is go a times a and b times b, b times negative b. Because if I FOIL it, I'm going to get a negative AB and a positive AB. What's going to happen with them? They're going to cancel. So you can just square the first term, square the second term, and subtract. It's always going to be subtraction when they're opposite signs like that. All right, I think I've showed you this shortcut before for the binomials, where you take the first term, the a, and square it. You multiply the a times the b, and then times 2, that's 2ab. That's how they got that. And then you take the second term and square it. Okay? So if we look at this one, square the y to get the y squared. Multiply 4 times y, which is 4y, times 2. That's where the 8y comes from. And then square the 4, get the 16. For this one, square 2t, you get 4t squared. 2t times negative 5 is negative 10t times 2. That's how that negative 20t shows up. And then square the negative 5, you still get a positive 25. Again, if you don't remember those little patterns, you can just write it twice and FOIL it. Okay? When you cube a binomial, all right, it says you can cube the a, and then you're going to square the a times b and then multiply it by 3. Then you're going to square the b and multiply it by a times 3. And then you're going to cube the b. So there's going to be 4 terms. All right? So if we look at this first one, cube the z, z cubed. All right? Then you're going to square the z times the b, right? It's 3 times 3. So you got 3, z squared times 3 is 3z squared times another 3, that one. That's where the 9z squared comes from. Then you're going to square square the 3, the b part, which is 9, times the a part, z. So you got 9z times 3 again, right there. That's where that 27z comes from. And then you cube the 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. All right, this one, you're going to cube the m. You're going to square the m times the negative 2 is negative 2m squared times 3. That's where the negative 6m squared comes from. Then you're going to square the 2, positive 4, times m is 4m, times 3 again. That's where the 12m comes from. And then you cube negative 2. A negative 2 times a negative 2 is a positive 4, times another negative 2 is a negative 8. So that's why that's a negative 8 at the end, because it's 3 negatives. 3 negative 2s. Okay? That one gets kind of confusing. So you might be better off writing it as, this m minus 2. FOIL this. Get your answer. All right? Which you guys might know that quickly, right? M times m. Multiply those and double it. And then square and then just do this. Okay? Like we did on that last example where we had all 3. That might be better for you if you're not remembering the pattern. It's up to you. You want to learn those patterns? The cube of a binomial? Go ahead and do that. Questions? So we should be able to add, subtract, and multiply. Do we need to practice these? Not really. Right? Square the 4, I can do it real quick for you. Square the 5, is it plus or minus in between when you do this type? It's always minus, all right? For this one, square the 9y. Multiply those together, negative 18y times 2. Square the negative 2, positive 4. Okay? The cube one, cube the first one. So you're cubing a and b. So it's a cubed, b cubed. All right? Then you're supposed to square that. So that's a squared, b squared times 4, which is 4a squared, b squared times 3, which is 12a squared, b squared. For the second one, you square the 4, 16 times AB, all right? And then AB times 3, 16AB times 3 is 48AB. And then you cube the 4. 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 64. So again, if you learn those patterns, those rules, it goes a little quicker. But if you don't, right, William, then you could just write it out 3 times and do it the long way. All right, I think that's it. There you go. Good job today. You guys been doing well. Good start to this new year, this new 9 weeks. Let's keep up the good work. Don't be afraid to ask questions.